Okay, so let's have a meeting. Ready on the left, ready on the right. Staff looks like they're ready. Okay, let's call the meeting to order. This is the Calaveras Council of Governments meeting for Wednesday, November 5th, 2014. I would invite you all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. First on the agenda this evening is our consent agenda, items 1 through 6, generally considered to be routine and non-controversial, unless any member of the board, our staff, or the public want to pull an item from consent for further discussion prior to the vote. Any member of the board want to pull an item? Staff? I understand Mr. Caldwell wants to pull item number 6 and talk about B, which is informational, and we can do that, Gary, if that's your choice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Chair is open to a motion. If I see no other items being pulled, the chair is open to a motion on, I guess, just item 1, which is the regular minutes from October 1st. Chair is open to a motion on that item.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second by council members Ponte and Edson. I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None noted. That passes unanimously. We have a full complement of the board this evening. We'll go to item number 6B. Melissa, you want to introduce that topic, and then we'll have public comments from Mr. Coleman.
Thank you. Item 6B is our 3-year call for projects. The call for projects was developed in partnership with both city and county staff 3 years ago. We successfully implemented the 3-year call for project over the past many years, and we're beginning the process of negotiating the new priorities with the city and county for the upcoming fiscal years. The city and county will take to their respective boards their priority list of projects. We've included for your review the applications. So I would just like to let the city and county know that your staff should be working with you on the prioritization of projects for the Calaveras Council of Governments to consider. The package that you have before you, I just might point out, was developed in partnership with both city, county, and COG staff. It seems to be a useful tool for us previously, and we look forward to utilizing it again in this upcoming call. So if there's any questions from the council or the public, I'd be happy to take any questions or comments.
Okay. Mr. Caldwell, your item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the council, Gary Caldwell, Valley Springs. I wanted to comment on 6B because I wanted to add, if I want the council to add, as far as the evaluation criteria, it's on page 4 of the various procedures for scoring applications. I think you should include in there as evaluation criteria of the agency that's applying to administer the project. You should require a review of on-time delivery history. As you know, I'm constantly beating on the council about delivery. And the timely use of funds. We have had problems where I shouldn't say we, the council's had problems where money's about to lapse and you have to get San Joaquin COG to go ahead and agree to borrow it. And a comment was made in the write-up on this particular item that the money could be used for construction phase only. And I think that's a good suggestion because I'm sure you've all heard of the phrase shovel ready, which means that hopefully a project is ready to go, that they're just about to, the agency is just about to advertise for bids, and they've done the environmental, they've done the design, they've gotten all that out of the way, and now's the time to get to construction and get something out on the ground moving. And I like the construction phase only because many times you hear agencies' reasons for being behind on a project is the environmental process took so long. They didn't anticipate that they were going to have to do this study or that study. Well, in this case, if you dictate that it can be used for construction phase only, you don't have the money tied up for years while they struggle through the environmental and the design phase. When you allocate money to a project and to an agency, you have said, well, when you're ready, we've got the money here available to you. We won't tie it up by giving it to you at the environmental phase. So the project, when the agency does get around to doing the project and you provide them the money to do it, then they're ready to actually have some work done out on the ground. And I think that's a good idea, that you set that as one of your parameters. And I wanted to point out to you with respect to, and I guess I don't really need to do this, but with respect to delays, you've got a report on the agenda tonight, or actually you've already gone through it. The first, item number 2, first quarter, I'm sorry, it's item 3. First quarter overall work program report. And I'm sure you've seen in there that there are projects where it's 0% completed. And you'll see in there, in the column, it says anticipated completion date or expected completion date, June 2015. Well, if you go back to your September meeting, you'll see a report just like that, that's for the fourth quarter of 13-14. Now that report is almost identical. The amount completed on the projects, almost project by project, is identical. The only thing that's changed is the expected completion date has now magically been moved to June 2015. So all we do is we've got a moving target here. There isn't any definitive date by which you can expect that project to be done, and that's why these things drag out, and that's why I stand before you just about every month and beat the drum about project delivery. So my suggestions are that you modify these evaluation criteria to include the items that I've suggested, so you do get projects that actually will move through the process in a timely manner. You will get applicants who also perform and have performed in a timely manner and have utilized the available funds that they've been offered in the past. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
You bet.
As you understand, this is an information item, so we can't take action this evening. But I would sort of reiterate that throughout several of our goal workshops, we have put at the top of the list project delivery. So you're asking it to be sort of embodied in the document. I certainly don't have a problem with that, and I would just sort of direct Melissa to be cognizant of that and bring that back so that we can take an action on it. We can't do it now, but your comments are germane, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, any other comments on this item? Did you want to follow up?
No, I just wanted to thank Mr. Caldwell and Chair Stein for the comments, and I would be happy to take this recommendation back before staff at the Technical Advisory Committee. We have a Q&A session in November, and we can bring this up as one of the criteria. We worked collaboratively to develop these, so I think if they know it's a priority for the council, they'll give that due consideration. So I'll be happy to take it back to the TAC.
And perhaps one thing I could suggest as an addition, one thing to evaluate based on past performance of what you've done in the past, but what we're really more interested in looking forward. So perhaps the application for the funding could include a separate area that you need to answer is your demonstrated ability to accomplish the project within budget and time constraints, and have the applicant identify staff resources and demonstrate to the reviewers how they plan on doing so.
Wes?
Well, I'm just going to comment, on the surface, your recommendations sound pretty straightforward and realistic. Although I really would like more time to think about that. Yes, construction-ready projects would be great, but if there's never any money available to do the environmental portions of the work and the plans and specs and the engineering, you never do get a project to a point where it's shovel-ready. I mean, there's a place for funding all types of a project. And my quick knee-jerk reaction is if you focus all the monies on construction-only project, you're eventually going to build a backlog of other good projects that need to go through all of the entitlement stage. And so I don't think there's any one real right answer. I think you need to keep both options open. So,
Okay.
I think a balance, I would agree. I do question too, I see the date of December 15th, is that realistic? By the time this gets out and gets to everybody, a 30-day process?
This was the same schedule, I believe, that we were utilized in the first call for projects. And I don't think that we've heard any concerns from the city or county. I think that there could be flexibility if they did express concerns with their ability to prioritize the projects. Usually they have a list of priorities and projects that they're really waiting for us to let them know that there's available funding for. But it could take more time with a new board of supervisors wanting to weigh and vet number one priority projects. So I think we can play this by ear. We typically try to work with an OWP schedule, but I think we could be flexible with the schedule.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking is, we have new incoming members if they want to be a part of that process, and maybe by the time, it's dealt with the deadline by January, it's a moot point, but.
Yeah, I think I was working for the FTIP, wanting to have new CMAQ projects programmed in the Federal Transportation Improvement Program by March was the goal I was shooting for.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments on this item? Okay, good discussion. Thank you for pulling that, Gary. Item number 7 is, we're going to begin our regular agenda. Item number 7 is public comment, 5 minutes per person. I'll limit it to 15 minutes per topic. This is generally the part of the agenda where the public can address the board on an item that's not already scheduled for discussion or action by the board. So again, that's 5 minutes per person, 15 minutes per topic. Anybody that wants to address the board, please step forward. Okay, none noted this evening. Let's move to item number 8, county report. Mr. Packinger, welcome.
Good afternoon. Robert Packinger, Public Works. We have just received the final signature on the right-of-way agreements and grant deeds for our 1226 project. We received those yesterday from Marval. There were a number of people that needed to sign that. We'll be going to the Board of Supervisors to have the board approve the final 3 right-of-way agreements. Once that's done, we'll be able to move forward with Caltrans to move to the next phase, which is construction. The very first thing that will happen in construction is the removal of the tanks. The tanks have to be removed, the underground storage tanks have to be removed so that then PG&E will feel safe enough to come in and do their utility work. And while that's happening, we will be advertising and going out to bid for the construction contract for the rest of the project. And that should occur then with the construction happening around beginning of the end of spring, somewhere in the springtime. We hope to get that done. So that's that schedule right now. So far, so good.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Robert. Okay, let's go to item number 9. This is the transit report. I don't see any supplemental materials presented other than this. So Deborah, would you lead the discussion, please?
Thank you. Yes. I think number A is the Phase 3 bus shelter project that is proceeding on the latest schedule. It's the approval of plans and specs will be going to the Board of Supervisors at the next meeting this month. And we hope to be able to put that out to bid. The bids will be due December 19th, and hopefully construction will take place, be completed by February, and ready to close out the projects on time before any more extensions or delays.
Good.
We have the one that's on, there's 5 within the state right-of-way, and we've applied for Caltrans encroachment permits for those. And one more to do on private property at La Quintana Plaza. We have a license agreement with the owner of that property that will be going to the board on November 25th as well for execution. So hopefully everything is going to go forward on those. Number B, the LTF claim update. We've been working through several revisions of the transit budget and the LTF claims, working out difficulties, some things that were confusions and deficiencies that were noted in the operations analysis that you heard last month. So we're working on those, and we're working on the state controller's report. The same associated difficulties, but we're working with the county auditor, getting everything right on that, and it should be completed the next few days. And we'll be bringing the claims to you, the LTF claims, hopefully at your December meeting. Moving on to PTMI SEA. We got the 2 new buses, 2 Freightliners at the beginning of October. We have a new fleet manager in Public Works who went through the new buses and found some things that he didn't feel quite right about, and the vendor has taken them back to Delta Trucking, something to get some work done on these new buses. I'm very anxious to get them on the road in service, and I think I'll make some noise about that when it happens. This was a little disappointing but we make sure that they're all right. Okay, so that's where they are. French Camp is where they are. So at the last Board of Supervisors meeting, they approved programming of the PTMI SEA project list. That will be, we need to bring that, not the list, but the subrecipient agreement back to the board to get that amended in December, and we'll come to you for the expenditure plan also in December. Okay. And Calaveras reports were submitted last week on time. So other transit items. Next Tuesday is Veterans Day. There will be no buses running. Next year, we're going to take Columbus Day off the list of holidays, even though it is a county holiday. School's in session, people need transit, so we're going to change that when we update the contract with Paratransit Services. Take Columbus Day off. My favorite holiday. There's no obligations that day. But that's just me. Okay, for the Stockton Intercity service, we've received the pre-award authority from FTA Section 5311F for operations. So I'm hoping that for the capital portion of that will be in the email soon so that we can move on with the purchase of that bus. I don't think we can do too much in terms of operation expenditure until we have a bus to make that run. So other exciting news in transit is the trip planner. I hope you all go to calaverastransit.com and try out the trip planner. It connects Calaveras Transit to other transit services. You can say where you are, where you want to go, and it's not just Calaveras. It's kind of fun to try it out and see. Yeah. And it tells you how long it'll take, where to go and to get it, what it will cost, how long the trip is, and how much money you save by not taking your personal vehicle.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it is kind of fun. So we're going to be pushing that and hope it gets a little more use out there in virtual land. Other important thing is the Stuff the Bus. It's starting this weekend in 2 locations, Marval in Valley Springs and Treats here in San Andreas. And there's a phone number on the little flyer you got with the phone number of the food bank so that you can volunteer. But I'm ready to take some notes and which of the board members would like to volunteer at which locations. Maybe we can get a little peer pressure on each other. So who will be first? Cliff?
Come on, don't raise it.
Cliff, which ones do you want to volunteer at?
Marvell and treats.
So treats on this Saturday, and then Marvell on December 6th,
No, I'll do a shift. I'll do both.
on that one day?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll find out what day, what time. Okay, great.
I'll probably go to the other one too, but.
It's actually quite fun. You know,
I've
you're
done
out
it
there and
before.
people are going into the stores and you accost them with a list of things that are recommended, you know, canned goods, and they also get frozen turkeys,
Yeah.
and they refrigerate them back at the food bank, and it's really kind of,
Save Mart's the one that gets all the turkeys.
yeah, and
Jesus, I couldn't believe how many turkeys.
it's good for Calaveras Transit. People see our bus out there, and the drivers all donate time. So, Chair Stein, which day do you want?
I didn't see the West Point one. on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, or the Willseyville store, but you know, I don't think that we
As soon
even
as you get
asked
one of
them.
those on there,
That's where you'll be.
We can make arrangements if you want to, actually, we take cash. Okay, moving on then.
I'll volunteer for, how about November 22nd at St. Martin Angels Camp?
Great, all right. All right, thank you. And you will enjoy it. Okay.
And we're volunteering from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.?
Yeah, and if you can't make it the whole time, just let me know. I'll put in, yeah, it's, you know, a little tiring, but,
Be there as long as we can.
yeah.
We're extras anyhow. Gotta count that out.
Okay, so, other items are, we're beginning the service to Burson, hopefully towards the beginning of December. They've already put the bus stop signs up at the Burson Firehouse, so we have to put a little sign, so not quite yet. But it's going to be 4 times a day from Government Center to Burson. So we'll be revising the transit schedules for that. And then the disaster exercise is a big and exciting event that's being planned by so many agencies, all the first responders and Red Cross and churches and amateur agencies in Calaveras, to have this big mock wildfire kind of in Chair Stein's neighborhood there. And the transit angle will be evacuations, and a big part of it will be communications, establishing ways of communicating between agencies. And I'm finding learning the language and the lingo will be helpful when there is something and we need to jump on it quickly, and we'll know who each other are. And Cynthia Lawrence, the operations manager for paratransit services, is participating on committees within that group to work on that. So that's going to happen in April, but the planning is happening about once a month. There's a meeting.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Deborah, I'd like to sign up for the December 6th at Angel's Food Market. And I'm going to take the bus to get there. It's going to be 26 minutes, cost me $2, and save me $7.47.
Isn't that a kick?
The app works.
All right.
It's kind of cool.
Okay. And Jim?
I'll sign up Friday afternoon, thanks for calling me out.
Which one?
At Valley Springs, in the afternoon, perhaps better than the morning.
That was December 12th?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, maybe we can,
figure it out.
yeah.
double up on that one.
That's a pretty good tape, too.
So you had to turn around and ask the audience if they want to volunteer.
I know Marty will. You probably already signed up.
I haven't yet, I want to know what the dates are.
Okay, there. Anybody else?
All right. Anyone else?
Different question.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Is the delay in implementing the Stockton service predicated on the new buses that are being received?
No, that's a different bus. It's going to be a new bus that hasn't yet been ordered. We can't order it yet until we get the go-ahead from FTA. So it's not one that we've received. The two that we've received that are in French Camp will be in the general service. They'll be replacing 2 buses in our fleet. The one for the inner city will be a new one, just for that purpose. It has luggage racks.
Will the service to Stockton coincide with Delta College's next quarter?
I don't know when their next quarter is. It won't be, it might take 6 months before we
Okay.
get a bus.
So we're really looking,
Yeah, so
okay.
it's
Next
it'll be
summer
a
then.
ways away. But it will go that way, and it will go to Kaiser and around shopping and doctors' facilities.
Great.
All right, anything else?
Question. When the buses come back to us, are they ready then to kind of say hit the road, or does it take a little bit more of a process to continue to modify to meet our needs here?
The graphics have been done. I think they'll be ready to roll.
Okay.
Very good, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, let's move on then to item number 10 is the city report. I do not see...
There will be no city report.
Okay, no city report, so we'll move to item number 11. Mr. Gedney, the Caltrans report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Gedney, Caltrans District 10. We are glad to receive your sustainable communities and strategic partnership applications by the deadline last week. We'll do what we can to review them at the district and provide our support to headquarters. We like all the projects that were submitted. Just a cautionary note, though, that it was a pretty popular program. Statewide, we received almost 190 applications under both programs. So a lot of interest in it, very effective, and it replaces, as you know, the old community-based transportation planning program that was implemented pretty successfully in other communities. So, like I say, we'll try to support them as we can. It will be quite a while till we hear the results back. Often these are not reported out until summer, sometimes fall. But we'll keep you posted on how they are received.
Where does it go to, John?
I'm sorry?
Who makes the decision?
Headquarters, regional planning staff review them. They actually have a committee set up of people throughout the state who volunteer to serve on the review committee. We've had staff in our own district serve on that review committee certain times. We haven't been asked yet, but when we do get asked to serve on it, obviously it helps to have an insider in there. So we'll see if we can find.
Is there an opportunity to give a presentation to those folks?
What you could do is, and this is a good idea, when we do convene our district staff to review it, headquarters likes to rely on our relationship with our locals, and they look for our comments in regard to, as Gary mentioned previously, on performance on previous contracts, things like that, and they look to see our insight and our recommendations in that regard. So, and then also, if you have any additional comments you'd like to provide on it, any additional support that's coming. As an aside, we had a Native American celebration today in the district. We invited members of the tribal communities throughout the district to come participate. There was an opportunity to share stories, and actually one comment that was made today was regarding the effort to make the McCallamy River a wild and scenic river, and the Native American members who are participating today were opposing that because of the lack of management, and fit right into the idea of the watershed protection plan. I thought that was pretty interesting. So that kind of support, if we can make the case and we present our comments back to headquarters that we have local support like that, that could go a long way too. So we just stay in touch. We don't convene the district review committee for probably another month and a half or so. So there's some time to gather some information. But please feel free to submit any support documents that you might have. Any letters of support or anything like that will help quite a bit.
Okay.
And then just one other thing I'd like to mention. We've had some turnover in the district. We have a new district deputy director for operations and maintenance. Her name is Sam Hack. You may know her. She has some experience in headquarters bridge and other programs. We also have an interim deputy for program project management who's replacing Dinah Bortner, who recently retired, and you'll remember her. She's quite familiar to us up here, Grace McSayo, the project manager for the Wagon Trail project. So it's good to have a friend in our as our program project management deputy. So with that, that's all I have really to report tonight. If you have any issues or concerns for me.
Okay. Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Have a good Thanksgiving. All right, let's move then to item number 12. This is the short-range transit plan update, organizational and maintenance analysis. Amber Collins is going to introduce the topic, and you're looking for some direction, Amber.
Okay. Thank you, Council Chair. This item is a follow-up to the transit maintenance and organizational analysis presentation provided last month by Cliff Chambers. We just wanted to bring this back to let you know how we're moving things forward, what we're doing in the short term as staff, and also provide the council with an opportunity to continue this at a policy level discussion for long-term solutions. So in the short term, we're continuing the development of the short-range transit plan and beginning the triennial performance audits later this month. And so in approximately 6 months, we'll be able to bring you back a very comprehensive set of evaluation of the transit system and a set of recommendations at that time. We're going to move forward with funding a feasibility analysis of an operations and maintenance facility for Calaveras Transit as programmed in the OWP. And then tonight we're also asking for direction from the council to fund a professional services agreement for support to assist the county in contract negotiations between the county and paratransit services. And this will provide them with the expertise, the transit expertise in executing this contract with paratransit services, so to avoid some of the pitfalls of past contract negotiations. And we're not expecting that to exceed $5,000, but that'll be by the direction of the council. And then for long-term strategies, the bigger picture, the council can consider a presentation and discussion on different system approaches, specifically different organizational structures. So if the council is interested in continuing the discussion, staff is prepared to bring back Cliff Chambers at a future date. Cliff has provided a cost estimate of $1,375 for this additional presentation and workshop, and this will be an amendment to the short-range transit plan contract. And so we're asking the council for direction on 2 items: to pursue a contract for consultant services to assist the county in contract negotiations, and then 2, a contract amendment with Cliff Chambers to bring back the discussion of institutional options, adding kind of more of a pros and cons for specifically Calaveras Transit.
Okay, it seems like when he was here last month that we did kind of request that he comes back with options, didn't we? Am I mistaken in that?
Well, we went back and we took a look at the meeting, and I think we wanted to make sure we were just covering our bases. We heard sort of different messages. We heard maybe the option of giving it 6 months and then coming back and talking about it.
Right.
Then we also heard, no, there needs to be something more happening between now and then, and that these issues or these problems won't be going away. So I think from our perspective, between now and 6 to 8 months, we're working on the delivery of the short-range transit plan and the triennial performance audit. So I think that that's the discussion we hope to come back to you with in a 6 to 8 month time frame, and there will be some solid recommendations coming out of both of those reports. I think we look forward to continuing a policy level discussion. Cliff is available in December. We can check his availability for our next meeting in February, and he's interested in bringing together a presentation on those organizational options and going into more detail than what was in the report in weighing the pros and cons for Calaveras County to consider. I think that that's good for policymakers to have that foundation and that information. as the county progresses in their transit performance and delivery, and also as we release those audits and reports. And I think in an effort to balance, I think, the message that we heard from the COG board, immediately we can get the county the support in the contract negotiations. So we just heard, I think, conflicting messages. So we tried to bring you a strategy that sort of addressed all of the concerns. And so the board can consider any of them or none of them, and we'll continue on with the planning.
But the 5,000 is specifically to contract for him to do this, and you're recommending it come from LTF funds?
The 5,000 would not go to Cliff Chambers. He's asked that he be recused from that. He feels that he provided the recommendations. We would be looking to contract with another consultant.
Okay.
It would be not to exceed. We believe we can get it done for considerably less, but the county has expressed the desire to maybe have some additional professional support in this area. So we've sort of identified that limit with city staff. They felt comfortable that it was in their interest to support that. The additional amount, I think, was $1,300 for Cliff Chambers. He's done a considerable amount of work. I just asked him to do a little bit more on the pros and cons of the alternatives, to go into more depth, and then also his travel time. So I think that that's approximately $1,300 out of LTF as well.
Okay.
So we would look at our procurement policies. I think I would like to get maybe 3 cost estimates from different transit consultants, and then work with the city and county and see who they're comfortable working with on the procurement of the contract for the contract negotiations with paratransit.
Comments then from the board? Staff's looking for further direction on it.
Well, I'm certainly supportive of both of those recommendations. I think they're essential that we keep moving in that direction.
Okay. Jim, you had your...
Yeah, I share this two-pronged approach. Seems to make a lot of sense. This $1,300 for Cliff's follow-up, the scope of work, one thing there's interest always in multiple jurisdictions, whether Amador, Tuolumne, or both. Will his $1,300 contract, or could it include some preliminary discussion with the adjoining counties to assess the level of interest? Otherwise, I'm afraid we can spend a lot of time talking and discussing how wonderful it would be, but to get very far with that discussion without some level of feedback, it seemed it would be helpful to have some idea what our neighbors would or wouldn't be interested in.
I think that that's a great comment, and we will follow up with them. I know that we have had preliminary conversations with our partners as staff. I believe he has also had discussions with them, and we've asked that that be part of the pro versus con discussion. But I'll ask him I'll let him know that it's an interest of the council, and if there needs to be any additional work so that he comes prepared.
Yeah, Debbie.
And then I have a question on the professional services agreement. So is this a firm that would be assisting in this, or is this an attorney who specializes in this? And is there any emphasis on kind of rural transportation versus kind of the urban transportation feel?
Yeah, typically we work with a really small pool of consultants that provide guidance to us and the transit agency. And so we do have a recommendation for a firm that we've worked with for a number of years. LSC was the person that was recommended. So I think that we'll reach out to those agencies that we've worked with over the past years and make sure that they have that experience. They have that working relationship, obviously, with the county and the familiarity with their transit system. And it's important to us that we get someone that the county can really rely on for the support. Because that's the goal, is to improve their ability to negotiate this contract and to give them those resources.
John?
This is actually more of a follow-up from the presentation that was given last month. One of the comments made in the analysis of doing our own operations or our own maintenance on our buses is because the requirements for mechanics to service buses are different than your standard auto shop type mechanics that are more prevalent. Was there any exploration of looking at any of the school districts which do have maintenance facilities and do have qualified mechanics to service bus type equipment?
No, I don't think that was a part of it, that we explored that.
No, but I think that that's a great follow-up question. Robert, if you have any, I don't have an answer for that.
The person that we've hired as our fleet manager actually was the person that was working with the school buses here. So we have that experienced person now.
Okay. I guess the point that I was going to make was that it seemed like the general comment was that that was a specialized maintenance need that wasn't found in our county. And after the meeting, I just thought about it. It seemed to me that, well, our local school districts, both Bret Harte and Calaveras, have maintenance facilities as well as some of the elementary school districts for their buses. And I'm assuming that their ability to service school children on buses mean that they're probably servicing buses that do public transportation, and the requirements are probably similar to what we would need for our public transportation. I just want to throw it out that that might be a good avenue to explore if we could contract out with our local school districts to provide maintenance as an alternative as well. Because that wasn't brought up at the last meeting, that's all.
Okay.
So I think if it's okay with the council, I'd like to look into that question and comment further. I'm sure we can find something in FTA that speaks to this issue, and if not, we'll check with Cliff, the
For
mobility
what?
managers. I'm sorry?
For what?
In the FTA, we'll just check and see if there's anything that stands out to us, and if not, we'll verify with Cliff if that's an alternative. For school bus maintenance.
Yeah, so they hired a lead mechanic that works on buses. So,
No, I'm saying those local school districts, and there's many of them up in our county, may already have certified mechanics and facilities capable of servicing our bus fleet. And the comment last meeting was that it's a specialized area to service service our transit buses. And it seemed to me that the conversation at the end of the last meeting was that we got to look at it on our own because there is nothing out there. And my thought I put after the meeting was, well, there is stuff that's out there. Our local school districts do exactly that.
yeah, so I think that the part that's probably specialized is the fact that the buses are so new. And they have, they aren't really specialized. They just have newer technology on them. They have newer filter systems, like particulate filters and things like that. And so,
I'm just throwing it out for
yeah.
something to be
So
considered.
you're going to look into it and bring that back. Okay. Yeah. Other comments from the board on the direction sought? Support staff's recommendation?
Staff's recommendation.
And I do as well. And I believe, Wes, you already said
I did,
that?
yeah.
You're fine? Cliff? Okay. All right. Do you have clear direction, Amber?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments on this? Any staff, any public comment? All right. Let's move then to item number 13. This is a minute order, an action item approving fiscal year 2011-12, 13-14 triennial performance audit contract award. And Ms. Collins is bringing this to us as well.
Yeah, thank you. Staff recommends the council authorize the executive director to award and execute a professional services agreement between the COG and PMC to conduct the training performance audits for fiscal years 11-12 through 13-14 with a not exceed amount of $32,131. The contract's been reviewed by legal counsel and accepted with minor changes that have then been accepted by the consultant. So the changes you see that are in track changes were requested by the consultant, and legal counsel has reviewed those.
Okay, so you're good with this, Jim?
Yeah, I have a problem with any of the changes except for the indemnity provision, and
They accepted, good.
Okay, very good. All right, questions or comments from the board on this item?
I would only comment that it seems like the timing of this is absolutely perfect. If they're going to be completing their audit by June 15th, was it?
Yes.
Or end of June, excuse me. That's going to be, and a big portion of the work is auditing the transit. So the results of that audit will be very timely as we struggle with what direction we're going to go with, transit in the future.
Very good. Is there any public comment on this item? The chair is open to a motion on item number 13.
Also moved.
A motion by Councilmember Combs, Second by Councilmember Morris. I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None noted. That passes unanimously this evening. Okay. Item number 14 is resolution number 15-11, approving the fiscal year 2013-14 excess local transportation fund claim and allocation instructions submitted by the City of Angels. Ms. Raggio is bringing this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff is recommending the approval of resolution 15-11, authorizing the allocation of excess local transportation funds in the amount of $12,181 for fiscal year 13-14. Attached, I have included a copy of a breakdown from the finance department by population, and also attached is a copy of the City of Angels claim for the excess LTF. And if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer.
Okay, pretty straightforward. Questions or comments? Jen?
Again, to be clear, there's county and city money, and this resolution is at this point only authorizing the allocation of the city money.
That's
And
correct.
the county money is on hold, and we'll come back
I
to
have received a claim from the county, yes.
once you get a claim.
Then I usually bring it forward to the council.
Is there a timeline that the claim is needed before the money?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of that either.
PDA.
So at some point in the future, the county will request it, and at that time, we'll consider.
Didn't Deborah make reference to this in her report as soon as you finished the state controller's
That's for
report?
fiscal year 14-15, she'll submit a claim for LTF.
And I think the direction, we received direction from the county auditor that she's not considering the allocation instructions received by the COG for transit LTF. I don't know that there is the same concern for the streets and roads claims. It's our understanding that we just have not yet received the claim for this allocation of funding. The county could submit that claim to us at any point in which they're ready. And then the funds will just be retained in the fund until the claim is submitted.
Yeah, it doesn't extinguish it or go stale. I mean, it's there to be used for that amount and that specification only. Okay, questions or comments from the public on this item? Yes, Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gary Caldwell, Valley Springs. I do want to point out, sort of in response to Councilmember Combs' comment that agencies may not have the funds to do the upfront work of environmental and design. And in this particular report, if you read third paragraph, fourth paragraph, it says that the county is not going to be able to receive its $134,000 approximately because it failed to submit a report to the state controller's office by the due date. Now, you may recall that 3 months ago, the county also failed to utilize in a timely manner, even after they had been granted one extension, they asked for another extension, and they had to allow $250,000 to revert back to the state, RIP money, which the county then proposed to backfill with RIM funds. And it's these kinds of things, Councilmember Culm, that where the agency fails to help itself, I don't have any sympathy for them. Now, they've failed to meet a couple of deadlines. They're jeopardizing a total, counting the 250 grand that they had to give back in June, jeopardizing $380 some odd thousand. They need to get on the stick. And if they would do things in a timely fashion, they would have money available to do those things you suggested they might not have money to do. And it's unfortunate that the county let the state controller's report submission pass by without meeting that deadline and jeopardizing $134,000. It's just unfortunate these things happen. But it seems to be repetitious, at least with the Public Works Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Chair Stein, I believe we have a point of clarification.
Yeah, I was just
Reggie.
going to say, go ahead. Yeah.
I would just like to clarify on the excess LTF claim, that would not be not processed because of the state controller's report. In our statement of conformance, there is a section under 2 for all transit. This is the upper portion, so this is excess LTF. The state controller's report in our statement of conformance would be on the current fiscal year's LTF claim that you have to submit your state controller's report to receive your claim to run transit. This is a streets and roads claim.
That's what I thought, okay, yeah.
Yes, and they could use it, and obviously,
Well, and they should, you know.
Melissa just said, they can use it for streets and roads projects. Goodness sakes.
But it's not going to be lost, is the point.
Yeah, they just haven't,
So
have
so
the
then,
time. They're
your
following
point is
all
germane,
the-
because you ask for the money and go use it, yeah.
And if you recall, 3 months ago, they got a letter from the state controller's office that said, unless you submit these other reports previously on time, then they weren't going to allow for any more funding out of the state controller's office. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I do, and again, that was another issue, this is the excess.
I mean, it's just stacking up like this.
Is that done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today I called the auditor's office and it has not been submitted.
Any other public comment on this item?
I might point out a point of clarification on the resolution and just taking a look at it. It looks like the allocation instructions include both the county and the City of Angels, but just to clarify, the claim is just for the City of Angels. So I might recommend for the council's consideration excluding that allocation of the
I
133
can
to.
correct that and bring it back for your signature.
That'd be fun, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is everybody squared away on this item? All right. No further public comment? I'll call for the vote on item number 14. Again, this is a resolution 1511 approving fiscal year 13-14 excess local transportation fund claims and allocation instructions submitted by the City of Angels and Calaveras County.
So moved.
I'll second.
As amended.
As amended, absolutely. I have a motion by Councilmember Edson, a second by Councilmember Colm. I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None noted. That passes unanimously. Okay, very good. Let's move to item number 15, staff reports this evening.
Perfect, I'll go ahead and kick this off. I think everybody has a little bit of a staff report for the council this evening. First, I just wanted to update the council that we are working with the county on the Wagon Trail project. It continues to move forward as planned and scheduled, and we're working with our consultant, Drake Haglin, specifically Matt Satow, and looking at the co-op agreement in the next phases of the Wagon Trail project, because as the council is aware, we have programmed in 15-16 design and right-of-way acquisition. So we are providing support to the county and continuing to move that process forward, looking at the co-op agreement, the lead agency status, how we'll continue with the next phase, project management or sub-recipient agreements with the county. And then we'll also be working with the county to identify whether or not they would like Caltrans to be moving forward with the right-of-way acquisition and right-of-way phase, or if they themselves as a department will be moving forward with that. So I'm sure that that will be forthcoming before the Board of Supervisors, but I just wanted to let the council know that we're continuing to move that project forward. I think that that is all I have, and I'll turn it over to Reggio.
Thank you. I'd just like to update the council that staff is currently working on fiscal year 13-14 annual TDA financial audit. This project's kickoff meeting was held on August 6th. It was attended by county public works staff, the county auditor, Richardson and Company, and COG staff. Currently, we are trying to get all of backup information, but staff will be bringing back a request for a 90-day extension. We're having a delay in receiving all the recommended documentation from the transit department. This year, the COG will be also completing in conjunction with our annual TDA audit, a single audit. That is required when you've expended $500,000 or more federal dollars. So this will be the first year that we have to do an extensive single audit, so.
All right, very good.
Guess that's a good thing.
Yes.
We've spent over.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hopefully we're moving a project.
Yeah.
The only other item I have that I wanted to update the council and staff is the quarterly CIP reports will be on the December agenda. And just a reminder for city and county staff and project managers to update their projects, and then I'll print out the reports and have them at the December meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Melissa.
I think I have a couple updates on some planning projects. The bicycle pedestrian master plan, Safe Routes to School master plan, we're still in admin draft right now. We extended the timeline, as you saw in our correspondence with our contract, to allow more time for county review and approval of the project list. So we're now looking maybe in January for release of the public draft and that second public workshop. And our goal really is to meet the active transportation program call for projects is looking to come out in spring. So that's our goal, to get this adopted by that time. The Angels Camp State Route 449 Gateway Corridor Study is getting kind of kicked off. We're beginning stakeholder and public outreach. We're contacting some property owners that will be directly affected by the project and having a meeting with them on November 12th at the Firehouse in Angels Camp at 5:30. And then also our advisory committee, they'll have their first meeting on November 20th at the Firehouse at 5:30 as well. And we have 2 city council members, 2 planning commissioners, and then quite a few other representatives from other organizations. And then the Federal Transit Administration just released a call for projects in October for the 5310 grant, which provides operating and capital money for transportation for older adults and persons with disabilities. And nonprofit agencies are eligible applicants, and we do have interest from Common Ground Senior Services to start providing maybe demand response transportation throughout Calaveras County to kind of fill that need and gap. And so they're looking to this grant to fund that, so we're assisting them with a grant application. And then we will also be looking to apply to fund a mobility management position, which is a recommendation from the coordinated plan that we just adopted this year.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Melissa. Carly?
Yes, I have a couple public outreach updates. Last week, COG staff participated in the Family Resource Day at Michelson Elementary in Murphy's, and we shared a booth with Calaveras Transit. And tomorrow is the Calaveras High School's career fair, which Edson suggested that we participate in, which we are, and we're sharing a booth with Calaveras Transit for that as well. And then also our COG Facebook. I don't know how many people here have Facebook, but if you could go ahead and go on and like it. So we're trying to get word out. We just posted a couple things. You know, we're going to be at Michelson Elementary last week, and Calaveras Transit is hiring part-time drivers and getting word out anywhere we can, especially for, we have our citizen member applications are open, so we posted that on there. And also we will be participating in the Stop the Bus event.
All right, very good.
Have you talked to Elena about the part-time drivers at Mother Lode Jobs Training?
Actually, I suggested that she was the booth right next to us at Michelson Elementary, okay. So I went ahead and gave her Cynthia's card because of when she has people come in and needing positions and they may not have a ride, so I gave her card so she could do it.
You guys don't want to share a booth with me over there, or what?
Where are you? Oh, you're going to be, I mean, you might be a little tight in a table, but we could be next to each other.
Carly is doing a great job with our public outreach, with our Facebook page, keeping that alive, and also our website. So I would encourage you to check out Walk and Bike Calaveras and our COG website. She's constantly keeping news out there about the COG and what we're doing and how we support the city and county and what events are going on.
Very good. Good job. Well, that brings it down to you, Jim. Try to keep it under 10 minutes. You have a report this evening? Very good. Okay, let's start with Jim tonight. Council member reports.
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Debbie?
I don't have anything to report.
What?
Nothing, thanks.
Elaine?
Nothing.
Wes?
I'm not going to change the pattern.
John?
I'll just say happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I have nothing either. Okay, so let's adjourn to our next scheduled meeting, which is December 3rd, right here at the same time, 6:30. And have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you too.
I'm trying to find what you made on that.